Our stories are not real and made for entertainment purpose only. Subscribe to my channel for more stories. Now let's begin this one. My boss fired me at my promotion party, then I handed him a folder that made him quit. I thought my promotion party was the peak of my career, with champagne and applause waiting. Instead, my boss turned the night into a public humiliation until I handed him a folder that left him speechless and jobless. At 35, I'd poured my heart and soul into Apex Marketing, a mid-sized firm in Chicago that thrived on cutthroat competition and big-name clients. Late nights crafting ad campaigns, skipped vacations to meet deadlines, and endless pitches to skeptical executives had earned me a reputation as the company's rising star. I wasn't just good, I was relentless, turning failing accounts into multi-million-dollar wins with creative strategies that caught even the CEO's eye. My wife, Sarah, had been my anchor through it all, cheering me on as I climbed the ranks, even when it meant missing family dinners or Sophie's soccer games. Our daughter, Sophie, aged 8, and son, Liam, aged 5, were my why, the reason I pushed through exhaustion to build a future for us. When my boss, Greg Larson, announced a party to celebrate my promotion to senior manager, I was over the moon. The email invite, sent to the entire company, praised my exceptional leadership and innovative vision. Sarah squeezed my hand when I showed her, her blue eyes shining with pride. "You've earned this, David," she said, kissing me softly. The party was set for Friday evening in Apex's sleek downtown office, complete with a catered spread and an open bar. I spent the week preparing a short speech, rehearsing in front of Sarah, who teased me about my tie choices but beamed with every word. Friday arrived, and the office buzzed with anticipation. Colleagues slapped my back, joking about my corner office dreams. Sarah looked stunning in a navy dress, her laughter filling the conference room as she mingled with my team. Sophie and Liam, dressed in their best, clung to her side, wide-eyed at the glittering setup, champagne flutes, fairy lights, and a banner reading "Congratulations, David." Greg, a tall man with a perpetual smirk and a knack for charming clients, took the stage, his glass raised. "To David Carter," he began, his voice warm, "whose work has elevated Apex to new heights." The room erupted in applause, and I felt a surge of pride, my hand finding Sarah's under the table. Greg's speech continued, his words glowing with praise, my campaigns for the Miller account, my leadership on the tech rebrand. But then his tone shifted, a subtle edge creeping in. "Unfortunately," he said, his smirk widening, "David's position is being eliminated due to a company-wide restructuring." The room went silent, the air sucked out in an instant. Sarah's hand tightened on mine, her nails digging into my palm. "Due to performance issues," Greg continued, his eyes locked on mine, "we've decided to part ways with David, effective immediately." He slid a termination letter across the table, the paper stark white against the dark wood. The room spun. Performance issues. I'd just landed a $5 million contract last month, my metrics outpacing everyone's. Colleagues stared, some with pity, others with shock, a few whispering to each other. Sarah's face was pale, her eyes darting between me and Greg. Sophie, clutching her stuffed bunny, whispered, "Dad, what's happening?" Liam's small hand tugged at my sleeve, his voice trembling. "Are you okay, Daddy?" I couldn't answer, my throat tight, the weight of their gazes crushing me. Greg's smirk lingered as he thanked everyone for coming, dismissing the crowd like nothing had happened. Humiliated, I grabbed the letter and left, Sarah guiding Sophie and Liam behind me. The elevator ride down was silent, the kids' confusion palpable, Sarah's hand a lifeline in mine. At home, after tucking the kids into bed, Sarah sat me down, her voice fierce. "Something's off, David." "This isn't right," I nodded, the sting of Greg's words burning worse than the pity in my colleague's eyes. Greg had always been territorial, undermining my ideas in meetings, taking credit for small wins, but this felt personal, calculated. "I'm not letting this go," I said, my voice low. Sarah squeezed my shoulder, then fight back. "We'll figure it out together." The next morning, I woke to an empty inbox, no apologies, no explanations, just the termination letter glaring from my laptop. Sarah brewed coffee, her presence steadying me as I started digging. Greg's betrayal wasn't just a power move, it was a cover-up. I accessed my work emails through a backup account I'd set up for emergencies, scouring project files, meeting notes, and client correspondence. A pattern emerged, subtle but damning. Greg had been taking credit for my campaigns, passing my ideas to the CEO, Vanessa Brooks, as his own. My viral ad for a sports brand, Greg's name was on the presentation. The rebrand that saved a tech client, Greg's vision, according to board minutes. Then I found an email chain buried in a mislabeled folder titled Q3 Reports. Greg had written to a colleague, Mark, saying, "Carter's getting too much attention. If we pin the Miller flop on him, we can cut him loose." The Miller account hadn't flopped, I'd saved it, but Greg had doctored reports to make it look like a failure, blaming me for missed deadlines I'd never been assigned. Another email, sent to Vanessa, outlined performance concerns about me, citing fabricated missed meetings and client complaints. My blood boiled. This wasn't just sabotage. It was a calculated plan to erase my contributions and secure his own position. I spent weeks gathering evidence, working late into the night while Sarah kept the kids occupied with bedtime stories and board games. I pulled screenshots, timestamps, and client emails praising my work. A coworker, Lisa, who'd always been loyal, agreed to a discreet call. "Greg's been shady for months," she admitted, her voice hushed. "He bragged about handling you at a bar last week." I recorded the call, her words a goldmine. I consulted a lawyer, Ms. Elena Torres, who reviewed my evidence with a sharp nod. "This is wrongful termination, possibly intellectual theft," she said. "You've got a case, but lawsuits are slow. If you want impact, hit him where it hurts his reputation." I didn't just want a lawsuit. I wanted Greg to face the room he'd humiliated me in. The idea took root, fueled by Sarah's encouragement and my own need for justice. I reached out to a former colleague, Tom, who'd left Apex after clashing with Greg. Over coffee, Tom revealed more. Greg had a history of poaching ideas, undermining team members to climb the ladder. "He did it to me last year," Tom said, his jaw tight. "Stole my pitch, got me demoted." Tom shared old emails where Greg admitted to tweaking reports to look better, further proof of his deceit. With Ms. Torres's guidance, I compiled a dossier, emails, project logs, Lisa's recorded call, and Tom's testimony, all timestamped and notarized. Sarah helped me organize it, her marketing savvy ensuring the folder was clear and compelling. "Make it undeniable," she said, taping a photo of us at the promotion party to the cover, a reminder of what I was fighting for. I also reached out to a tech friend, Alex, who recovered deleted server logs showing Greg had accessed my files after hours, copying my work. The evidence was a fortress, and I was ready to storm Greg's castle. Apex's next company meeting was 3 weeks later, a quarterly review attended by the entire staff and Vanessa Brooks herself. I emailed Vanessa, requesting a moment to address my departure, framing it as closure. Greg, copied on the email, replied with a curt, "Fine," his smugness palpable even through text. He thought I'd grovel, maybe beg for my job back. He was wrong. The meeting was held in the same conference room, the fairy lights gone, the banner replaced by a dry PowerPoint. Greg stood at the front, presenting his new campaign, my campaign, word for word from a pitch I'd drafted months ago. Colleagues shifted uncomfortably, some recognizing my work. Sarah sat in the back, her presence a quiet strength. Sophie and Liam at home with a sitter but on my mind. When Greg finished, I stood, my heart pounding but my voice steady. "I'd like to say a few words," I said, holding up the folder. Greg's smirk faltered as I handed the folder to Vanessa. "This is who's been leading us," I said, my eyes locked on his. Inside were the emails, project logs, Lisa's recording, and Tom's testimony, all proving Greg's deceit. I'd included a timeline, showing how my campaigns became Greg's overnight. The room buzzed as Vanessa read, her face darkening with each page. Greg stammered, "This is nonsense, David's just bitter." But his voice cracked. Lisa spoke up from the crowd, "It's true." I heard him. Others nodded. Their own suspicions confirmed Greg had stolen their ideas too, sowing distrust across the team. Vanessa's voice cut through the tension. "Mr. Larson, we'll discuss this privately." Now. The meeting adjourned in chaos, colleagues whispering, some clapping me on the back as I left. By the end of the day, Greg resigned, pressured by Vanessa to avoid a public scandal. She offered me reinstatement, a raise, and even Greg's job. I declined. The betrayal had shown me I didn't need Apex's approval. I was bigger than their glass walls. The fallout was swift. Apex issued a company-wide apology, crediting me for the campaigns Greg had stolen. Vanessa personally called, offering a consultancy role, but I had other plans. With Sarah's support, I launched a freelance marketing firm, Carter Creative, taking half of Apex's clients with me, clients who'd always trusted my work, not Greg's lies. Sarah quit her part-time job to handle the firm's branding, her creativity breathing life into our new venture. Sophie and Liam became our cheerleaders, Sophie designing a logo with crayons, Liam insisting we name a campaign after his favorite superhero. Months later, I stood in our backyard, the late summer sun casting a golden glow over the grass, the air filled with the sizzle of burgers grilling for Sophie's 9th birthday party. Balloons bobbed in the breeze, tied to the fence where Sophie had once practiced her cartwheels. Her laughter now mingling with Liam's as he chased her with a water gun, their faces alight with the kind of joy only kids can radiate. The backyard was alive with neighbors, friends, and a few loyal colleagues from Apex who'd reached out after Greg's fall. Their presence a testament to the bridges I'd built through honesty and hard work. Sarah joined me at the grill, her hand slipping into mine, her touch as familiar and grounding as it had been on that awful night at the promotion party. Her navy dress caught the sunlight, and her smile soft, unwavering reminded me why I'd fought so hard. "You did it, David," she said, her voice soft but rich with pride, her blue eyes reflecting the fading light. She leaned closer, her shoulder brushing mine, the warmth of her presence a quiet anchor in the chaos we'd survived. "We did it," I corrected, my voice low, thick with gratitude as I kissed her forehead, lingering for a moment to breathe in the faint scent of her jasmine perfume. I pulled back, meeting her gaze, and saw not just love but a shared strength forged through sleepless nights of planning, tearful talks about our fears, and the unspoken vow to protect our family no matter the cost. The promotion party was supposed to be the peak of my career, a glittering moment to crown years of sacrifice. Instead, it became something far greater, a crucible that burned away my illusions and revealed a truth I hadn't fully grasped. My worth was never tied to a job, a title, or the approval of men like Greg. It was rooted in the family we built, the future we were carving, and the resilience that carried us through betrayal. I glanced at Sophie, her pigtails bouncing as she led a game of tag, her laughter a melody that soothed the scars of that night. Liam, his face smeared with frosting from a stolen cupcake, darted past, shouting, "Dad, watch me fly," as he leapt onto a pile of leaves. Sarah squeezed my hand, her fingers threading through mine, and I thought of the folder not just a collection of emails and recordings, but a mirror reflecting who I was, a husband who'd never stop fighting for his wife's trust, a father who'd shield his kids from the world's cruelty, a creator whose ideas couldn't be stolen because they came from a place no one could touch. Greg's betrayal had tried to break me, to dim the light I'd worked so hard to kindle. But it only made me stronger, illuminating a path I hadn't seen before. I remembered the days after the party, the doubt that had gnawed at me had I been too ambitious, too trusting. But Sarah's faith, Sophie's hugs, Liam's drawings had pulled me through. The folder I handed Vanessa wasn't just evidence. It was a declaration that I wouldn't be erased, that my work, my love, my life mattered. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, I felt a quiet certainty settle in my chest. Greg had lost everything: his job, his reputation, his place in a world he tried to manipulate. But me, I'd gained everything: a business born from my own vision, a family that stood unbroken, and a resolve to never let anyone dim my light again. Sarah rested her head on my shoulder, her voice a whisper. "What are you thinking?" I smiled, watching Sophie and Liam chase fireflies, their laughter echoing in the twilight. "That we're unstoppable," I said, and she laughed, the sound a promise of all the days to come. The promotion party had been a trap, but it led me to a truth worth more than any title. With Sarah, Sophie, and Liam by my side, I was already at my peak, and no betrayal could ever take that away.